While I was having dinner at my son's house, my neighbor called me and asked in a trembling voice, "Who's in your house?" I told him I was at David's place, and he whispered, "There's someone in your house right now." My name is Robert Miller. I'm 72 years old, and what I'm about to tell you will change everything you think you know about trust and family. It was a Tuesday evening in November when my son David invited me for dinner. This wasn't unusual. Since my wife Margaret passed away 3 years ago, David and his wife Jennifer had been making an effort to include me in family gatherings. At least, that's what I thought. "Dad, come over for dinner tonight," David had said that morning. "Jennifer's making your favorite pot roast." I arrived at their beautiful 2-story home at exactly 6 p.m., as I always did. David had done well for himself. He was a successful accountant with his own firm, living in one of the nicest neighborhoods in town. I was proud of what he'd accomplished. "Grandpa!" My granddaughter Emma, 8 years old, ran to hug me as I walked through the door. "Mom made chocolate cake for dessert." "Did she now?" I smiled, lifting Emma up. "Well, I guess I'll have to save room then." Jennifer appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. "Hi, Robert. Dinner will be ready in about 20 minutes. "Take your time, dear. I'm just happy to be here." We sat down at their elegant dining table. David, Jennifer, Emma, their 10-year-old son Michael, and me. The conversation flowed normally. David talked about a difficult client. Jennifer mentioned Emma's upcoming school play, and the kids chattered about their friends. It was 7:30 p.m. when my phone rang. "Sorry," I said, glancing at the caller ID. "It's my neighbor, Frank. He probably just wants to chat." "Go ahead and answer it, Dad," David said. "We don't mind." I pressed the green button. "Hello, Frank?" "Robert?" Frank's voice sounded strange, almost panicked. "Robert, are you home?" "No, Frank. I'm having dinner at my son's house. Why? Is everything okay?" There was a pause. I could hear Frank breathing heavily. "Robert, listen to me carefully. There's someone in your house right now." My blood went cold. "What do you mean?" "I saw lights moving around inside about 20 minutes ago. I thought you were home, but then I saw your car wasn't in the driveway. I've been watching, and whoever's in there is still moving around." I stood up from the table, my legs suddenly feeling weak. David looked at me with concern. "Are you sure?" "Frank, I'm looking at your house right now from my window. There's definitely someone inside. They've got a flashlight or something. Should I call the police?" My heart was pounding. In my 72 years, I'd never been robbed. I'd always felt safe in my quiet neighborhood, where I'd lived for over 30 years. "Yes," I said, my voice shaking. "Call them now. I'm heading home." "Robert, don't come here alone. Whoever's inside might still be there." I hung up and looked at my family. David was already standing. "Dad, what's wrong? You look pale." "Frank says there's someone in my house, a burglar." Jennifer gasped. "Oh my God, Robert. Should we call the police?" "Frank's calling them now. I need to get home." "I'm coming with you," David said immediately. "Jennifer, you stay here with the kids." "Be careful," Jennifer said, squeezing my arm. "Your safety is more important than any possessions." The drive to my house felt like an eternity. David was speeding, but it still seemed to take forever. I kept thinking about what the intruder might be taking. My wedding ring collection that belonged to Margaret. The photo albums. My father's watch. "Dad, try not to worry," David said, sensing my anxiety. "Most burglars just want electronics and jewelry. They usually don't damage much." But as we turned onto my street, I saw something that made my stomach drop. 3 police cars were parked outside my house, their red and blue lights flashing. Frank was standing in his front yard talking to an officer. We parked quickly, and I hurried over to Frank. "Robert, thank God you're okay," Frank said, grabbing my arm. I was so worried when I saw the lights. "What did the police find?" Officer Martinez approached us. "Mr. Miller, I'm sorry to tell you this, but whoever was in your house managed to escape before we arrived. We searched the entire property. They're gone now." "What did they take?" "That's what we need you to help us determine. We'll need you to walk through and see what's missing." David put his hand on my shoulder. "Come on, Dad. Let's get this over with." As we walked toward my front door, I noticed it was slightly ajar. The lock didn't appear to be broken. "How did they get in?" I asked. "That's what's strange," Officer Martinez said. "There's no sign of forced entry. Do you have any spare keys hidden outside?" "Just one, under the flower pot by the back door." "But only family knows about that." Officer Martinez exchanged a glance with his partner. "Mr. Miller, we're going to need to ask you some questions about who has access to your home." As we stepped inside, I immediately noticed that something felt wrong. It wasn't just that things were missing. It was that everything looked too perfect, too undisturbed for a burglary. "Dad," David said quietly, "are you sure Frank saw someone in here?" That's when I noticed the envelope on my kitchen table. An envelope that hadn't been there when I left for dinner. My name was written on it in handwriting I didn't recognize. "Officer," I called out, my voice trembling, "there's something here that wasn't here before." Officer Martinez put on gloves and carefully picked up the envelope. "Mr. Miller, do you recognize this handwriting?" I studied it closely. The letters were shaky, almost childlike. "No, I've never seen it before." "Should we open it?" David asked. "Let me," the officer said. He carefully tore open the envelope and pulled out a single piece of paper. His expression changed as he read it. "What does it say?" I asked. Officer Martinez looked at me seriously. "Mr. Miller, this appears to be a confession letter." "A confession? To what?" He handed me the paper. With trembling hands, I read, "Mr. Miller, I'm sorry I had to break into your house, but I needed somewhere safe to hide this letter where my husband couldn't find it. I know about the money. I know what he's been doing. I can't live with this secret anymore. Your son David has been stealing from your accounts for 2 years. Check your bank statements from March 2022. He's taken over $180,000. He thinks you're too old to notice. I'm Sarah Peterson from 3 houses down. My husband works at First National Bank where your accounts are. He's been helping David access your money. I can't be part of this anymore. I'm leaving tomorrow, but I had to tell you the truth. I'm sorry I involved you. But David threatened me if I said anything. Check account number 4847291. Sarah." The letter fell from my hands. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. "Dad?" David's voice sounded different now. "What does it say?" I looked at my son. The man I had raised, sacrificed for, trusted with everything. The man who had been stealing my life savings while pretending to care about my well-being. "David," I said quietly, "is there something you need to tell me?" His face went white. "Dad, what are you talking about?" $180,000, David. Ring any bells?" The silence was deafening. Officer Martinez watched David carefully. I don't know what you're talking about," David stammered. "Sarah Peterson does. She says her husband at the bank has been helping you access my accounts." David's hands started shaking. "Dad, listen." "So it's true." David collapsed into my kitchen chair. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." "We were desperate, Dad. Jennifer lost her job last year, And we had all these bills, the kids' private school, the mortgage on the house. I was going to pay it back. You stole from me for over 2 years and you were going to pay it back? Yes. I swear, Dad. I just needed more time. Officer Martinez stepped forward. Mr. Miller, would you like to press charges? I stared at my son, the man I had trusted to handle my finances when I started having trouble with online banking. The man I had given power of attorney to just in case something happened. How much exactly did you take, David? I'm not sure of the exact amount. Officer Martinez, can we check this tonight? We can call the bank's emergency line. They can verify account activity. While we waited for the bank representative, David sat with his head in his hands. Dad, I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. How far, David? How much exactly? Maybe closer to $200,000. My life savings. The money Margaret and I had saved for 40 years. The money I was saving for emergencies, for medical bills, for my grandchildren's college funds. That's my entire retirement account. I know, Dad, but I can pay it back. I just need time. With what money, David? You just told me you're desperate. The bank representative called back within an hour. Officer Martinez spoke with them while I watched my son squirm in his chair. Mr. Miller, the officer said after hanging up, the total amount withdrawn from your accounts over the past 24 months is $247,000. I felt dizzy. $250,000. Dad, please. And David, I said, my voice getting stronger. What about Jennifer? Did she know? David's silence was all the answer I needed. She knew, didn't she? She was scared, Dad. We both were. So when you invited me to dinner tonight, when you were all so nice and welcoming, you both knew you had stolen nearly everything I had? We were going to tell you. We just needed to figure out how. I looked around my kitchen, the house I had lived in for 30 years, the house I could no longer afford to maintain because my own son had robbed me blind. Officer Martinez, I want to press charges. Dad, no, please. You're my son, David. I trusted you with everything. I gave you power of attorney because you said you wanted to help me. I do want to help you. By stealing my life savings, I was going to pay it back. How, David? How exactly were you going to pay back $250,000? He had no answer. Officer Martinez called for backup. We'll need to bring you in for questioning, Mr. Miller. And David, you'll need to come with us. As they led David away in handcuffs, he looked back at me with tears in his eyes. Dad, I love you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I watched the police car drive away with my only child inside. Frank came over and put his arm around my shoulder. Robert, I'm so sorry. I had no idea this would lead to... You saved me, Frank. If you hadn't seen that woman breaking in to leave the letter, I might never have found out. What are you going to do now? I looked at my house, my empty bank accounts, my shattered trust. I honestly don't know, Frank. I honestly don't know. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my living room thinking about everything I had lost. Not just the money, though that was devastating enough. I had lost my son, my trust, my sense of security. But most of all, I had lost my family. Or so I thought. 3 days after David's arrest, I received a call that changed everything. Mr. Miller, this is Patricia Williams from Williams & Associates Law Firm. I represent Sarah Peterson. The woman who left the letter? Yes, sir. She'd like to meet with you. There are things about your situation that you don't know yet. What kind of things? Things that might help you recover much more than just your stolen money. We met at a small cafe downtown. Sarah was a nervous woman in her 40s, constantly looking over her shoulder. "Mr. Miller, I'm so sorry for breaking into your house, but I was desperate. You saved me from years more of theft." "Thank you. There's more you need to know. My husband, Tom, didn't just help David steal from you. They've been doing this to other elderly clients at the bank." My blood ran cold. "Other people?" "At least 12 others that I know of." Tom would identify older clients who seemed confused about technology, and David would approach them offering to help with their finances. This was organized? Very organized. They had a system. David would gain power of attorney, then Tom would facilitate the transfers. They've stolen over $2 million from elderly people in this town. I sat back in my chair, stunned. $2 million? "Mr. Miller, your son wasn't desperate. He's been running a sophisticated elder fraud operation. But his house, his lifestyle, all funded by stolen money. Not just yours, money from Dorothy Chen, Harold Washington, Mary Sullivan, and 9 others." "Where are these people now?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. 3 of them are in nursing homes because they can't afford their medication anymore. Harold Washington lost his house last month. The scope of David's betrayal was beyond anything I could have imagined. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because the FBI is building a case, and they need victims to testify. But more importantly, there's something else." "What?" "David doesn't know about your other accounts." "What other accounts?" Sarah pulled out a folder. "Mr. Miller, when I was researching your finances to help the FBI, I discovered something interesting. You have a trust account that was set up by your wife before she died. David never knew about it." She handed me documents. "Margaret set up an irrevocable trust in 2019, just before her cancer diagnosis. She transferred $850,000 into it, with you as the sole beneficiary." I stared at the papers. "I don't remember this. You were dealing with your wife's illness. She handled it with a different attorney." "Look at the signature. It's yours, but she probably had you sign it among other medical documents." "Margaret, even in death, she was still protecting me. This money is completely safe from David. He can't access it, can't steal it, doesn't even know it exists." For the first time in days, I felt hope. "There's more," Sarah continued. "The FBI is seizing all of David's assets. His house, his cars, his business accounts, everything. They estimate they can recover about 80% of what he stole from all his victims." "What does that mean for me?" "It means you'll get back most of your $247,000. Plus, you have the trust money Margaret left you." "You're not broke, Mr. Miller. You're actually more financially secure than you were before." I started crying, not from sadness, but from relief and amazement at Margaret's foresight. "Mr. Miller, there's one more thing. The FBI wants to use your case as the centerpiece of their prosecution. David is facing federal charges for elder fraud, identity theft, and wire fraud. He's looking at 15 to 20 years in prison. And Jennifer? She's cooperating with prosecutors. She claims David threatened her if she didn't go along with it." "Do you believe that?" "No. Bank records show she was spending the money as fast as David was stealing it. Designer clothes, spa treatments, expensive vacations. She knew exactly where that money was coming from." That evening, I called my lawyer to verify everything Sarah had told me. It was all true. Margaret had indeed set up a trust account with $850,000. The money was earning interest and was completely protected. She had also taken out a life insurance policy I didn't know about, worth another $200,000. My wife, even while dying of cancer, had been planning for my future security. I also learned that David's house, the beautiful two-story home I had admired, was bought entirely with stolen money. The FBI was seizing it, and it would be sold to compensate his victims. David and Jennifer would lose everything. But what about Emma and Michael? My grandchildren? The next day, I received a call from Jennifer. "Robert, please don't let them take our house. The children will have nowhere to live." "Jennifer, you lived in luxury for 2 years knowing that money was stolen from me and other elderly people." "I was scared of David. He controlled everything." "You were scared enough to spend thousands on designer handbags, though." Silence. "Jennifer, where will you and the children go?" I don't know. Maybe my mother's house." "And what about Emma and Michael's school?" "They'll have to go to public school now." I thought about my grandchildren. They were innocent in all this. "Jennifer, I want to see Emma and Michael." "David said you never want to see us again." "David is in jail for stealing nearly $250,000 from me. I don't care what David said." That afternoon, Jennifer brought the children to my house. They ran to me like they always did. "Grandpa, why is Daddy in jail?" Emma asked. "Because he made some very bad choices, sweetheart." "Are we in trouble too?" I looked at their innocent faces. They had no idea their comfortable life had been built on the destruction of other families. "You're not in trouble, but things are going to change." "Will we still see you?" I thought carefully about my answer. "That depends on your mother." "What do you mean, it depends on me?" Jennifer asked. I looked at Emma and Michael playing in my living room, then back at their mother. "I mean, you have a choice to make, Jennifer." "What kind of choice?" "Come with me to the kitchen. Kids, keep playing." In the kitchen, I sat Jennifer down at the same table where I had read Sarah's confession letter. "Jennifer, the FBI told me something interesting about your spending habits." Her face went pale. "They showed me credit card statements. In the past 2 years, you spent $47,000 on clothes, $23,000 on spa treatments, and $31,000 on vacations. All while knowing that money was stolen from elderly people." "Robert, I can explain." "You can explain how you spent $101,000 of stolen money, while 3 of David's victims ended up in nursing homes because they couldn't afford their medication?" Jennifer started crying. "I didn't know it was that bad." "You knew enough. You knew every dollar came from theft. What do you want from me?" I pulled out a document I had prepared with my lawyer. "I want you to sign this." "What is it?" "It's a custody agreement. You're going to give me legal guardianship of Emma and Michael." "What? No, you can't take my children." "I'm not taking them." "Jennifer, I'm offering to save them." "From what?" "From the life you're about to have. David is going to prison for 15 to 20 years. Your house is being seized. Your cars are gone. You have no job, no money, and no prospects. I'll figure it out." "How? You haven't worked in 5 years. You have no skills except spending other people's money." Jennifer wiped her tears. "So what are you proposing?" "Sign the custody papers. I'll raise Emma and Michael. They'll stay in their schools, keep their friends, have stability. And me? You can see them whenever you want. But I make the decisions about their education, health care, and future." "Why would you do this?" "Because they're innocent. Because they deserve better than what you and David can give them now." "And if I don't sign?" "Then you take them to your mother's house, put them in whatever schools you can afford, and watch them struggle while you figure out how to survive." Jennifer looked through the kitchen window at her children. "Robert, I know I made mistakes, but they're my babies. Yes, they are. And the best thing you can do for them right now is let me help them. What about when David gets out of prison? In 15 years, Emma will be 23 and Michael will be 25. They'll be adults. Jennifer was quiet for a long time. If I sign this, where would I live? That's up to you. But I'll help you get back on your feet. I'll pay for you to go back to school, learn a skill, find a job. You would do that? After everything we did to you? I would do that for Emma and Michael. They need their mother to be someone they can be proud of. How much help? $30,000 for education and living expenses while you get back on your feet. But only if you sign the custody papers. Jennifer looked at the document again. This says temporary guardianship until David is released. That's right. And I can see them? Every weekend if you want, holidays, school events. You're still their mother. But you make the big decisions. Yes, because I won't let them suffer for your mistakes. Jennifer signed the papers with shaking hands. Robert, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I know you are. Now prove it by becoming someone your children can respect. That evening, after Jennifer left, I sat with Emma and Michael. Kids, your mom and I have decided that you're going to stay with me for a while. Why? Michael asked. Because Mommy needs to go back to school to learn how to take care of you better. Are you sad, Grandpa? Emma asked. No, sweetheart. I'm actually very happy. I get to spend more time with you. What about Daddy? Daddy made some bad choices, and he has to stay away for a long time. But he loves you very much. Will we see Mommy? Of course. She'll visit all the time. That night, I called Margaret's sister, Patricia, who lived 2 hours away. Patricia, I need to tell you what's been happening. After I explained everything, she was silent for a moment. Robert, Margaret would be so proud of you. Proud? My son stole from me and is going to prison. Proud that you're protecting those children. Proud that you're not letting anger destroy your family completely. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. You are. And Robert? Yes? Margaret's trust wasn't just about protecting your money. She told me she was worried about David's spending habits. She suspected something was wrong. She knew? She had her suspicions. The trust was her way of making sure you'd always be able to take care of yourself and the grandchildren if something happened. Even from beyond the grave, Margaret was still looking out for our family. But my story wasn't over yet. The biggest surprise was still coming. 6 months later, I received a call that would complete my revenge in a way I never could have planned. Mr. Miller, this is Agent Sarah Chen from the FBI. We need to meet immediately. What's wrong? We've discovered something about your son's case that changes everything. We met at the FBI field office. Agent Chen spread out documents across the table. Mr. Miller, when we seized David's computers, we found something shocking. What? He was planning to kill you. My blood went cold. What did you say? We found emails between David and a man named Marcus Webb. They were discussing how to make your death look like an accident. Agent Chen showed me printed emails, my son's words in black and white. The old man is getting suspicious. We need to move faster. Can you make it look like a fall down the stairs? Falls are tricky. Heart attack is better. Untraceable. How much? $50,000. Half now, half after. Deal. Do it next month. I couldn't breathe. My own son was planning to murder me. When were these emails sent? 2 weeks before Sarah Peterson broke into your house. Mr. Miller, if she hadn't left that letter, You would probably be dead right now." The room was spinning. How long had they been planning this? At least 3 months. David had already paid Webb $25,000 as a down payment. Did they arrest Webb? Yesterday. He confessed immediately. Said David convinced him you were suffering from dementia and wanted to die peacefully. I sat in silence, processing this information. My son hadn't just stolen from me. He was planning to murder me for my life insurance money. Agent Chen, there's something David doesn't know. What's that? My wife changed my life insurance beneficiary before she died. David isn't getting a penny. Who's the beneficiary? Emma and Michael. My grandchildren. Agent Chen smiled for the first time. So, even if his plan had worked, he would have killed me for nothing. The final piece of justice fell into place that afternoon. Agent Chen called with an update. "Mr. Miller, David just learned about the murder charges. His lawyer told him about the life insurance beneficiary change." How did he react? Complete breakdown. He's been screaming in his cell for 2 hours. That evening, I sat Emma and Michael down for a serious conversation. "Kids, I need to tell you something about your father." I explained, in terms they could understand, that their father had made very bad choices and would be in prison for a very long time. "Will we ever see him again?" Emma asked. "That will be up to you when you're older." "Are we bad because our daddy is bad?" Michael asked. "No, sweetheart. You are not responsible for your father's choices. You are good kids with bright futures." That night, I updated my will. Emma and Michael would inherit everything: the trust money, my house, my life insurance. Jennifer would get nothing unless she proved herself over the next 15 years. A year later, I received a letter from David in federal prison. "Dad, I know you'll never forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. I just want you to know that losing you and the kids is worse than any prison sentence. I became a monster, and I'm sorry. Please don't let Emma and Michael hate me forever." "David." I threw the letter away without responding. Today, Emma is 10 and Michael is 12. They're thriving in school, have made new friends, and seem happy. Jennifer visits every weekend. She's enrolled in nursing school and is slowly rebuilding her life. The other victims of David's scheme have recovered most of their money. Harold Washington got his house back. Dorothy Chen can afford her medication again. David was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. With the murder charges, he won't be eligible for parole until he's 68 years old. Jennifer sometimes asks if I'll ever let her have the children back full-time. "That depends," I tell her, "on whether you can prove you've learned what family really means." Margaret's trust fund continues to grow. By the time Emma and Michael turn 18, they'll each have over $500,000 for college. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if Frank hadn't seen that light in my house that night. If Sarah Peterson hadn't been brave enough to leave that letter, I would be dead. David would have gotten away with it. Emma and Michael would have grown up thinking their grandfather died in an accident. Instead, I'm here. I'm raising my grandchildren. I'm financially secure. And my son is exactly where he belongs. Justice isn't always quick, but sometimes it's perfect. 2 years have passed since that phone call changed my life forever. Last week, I received another letter from David. This time, I decided to read it. "Dad, I heard through Jennifer that Emma made honor roll and Michael joined the soccer team. I'm glad they're doing well. I know I have no right to ask this, but could you send me pictures? I think about them every day. I know I destroyed everything, but they're still my children. David." I looked at the letter for a long time. Then I did something that surprised even me. I wrote back, "David, Emma and Michael are thriving because they're surrounded by people who put their welfare first. Something you never learned to do. I will not send pictures, but I will tell you this. They ask about you sometimes. I tell them you made terrible choices, but that doesn't mean you stopped loving them. Whether they choose to have a relationship with you when you get out in 23 years will be entirely up to them. You lost the right to be their father the day you decided money was more important than family." Robert. I mailed it the same day. Jennifer has been true to her word. She graduated nursing school last month and got a job at the local hospital. She's been paying me back $200 a month from her salary, even though I told her it wasn't necessary. "I need to do this," she said, "for my own self-respect." Last month, she asked if she could take the kids on a weekend trip to see her mother. "Of course," I said. "You don't need to ask permission for everything anymore." "Actually, I do," she replied. "You're their guardian. But more importantly, I've learned that taking responsibility means asking before acting." She's become a different person, humbler, more grateful, more aware of how her actions affect others. The kids are amazing. Emma is now 10 and wants to be a doctor. Michael is 12 and dreams of being a teacher. They both get straight A's and have never asked why they can't live with their mother full-time. "Grandpa," Emma said to me last week, "why did Daddy steal money?" "I think he forgot what was really important," I told her. "What's really important?" "Family, love, being honest, taking care of people instead of taking from them." Will we forget too? Not if I can help it. Frank, my neighbor who made that life-saving phone call, has become one of my closest friends. We have coffee every morning and watch the kids play in the yard. "You know," he said to me yesterday, "I almost didn't call you that night." "Why not?" "I thought maybe you had just forgotten to tell me you were coming home. I almost minded my own business." "Thank God you didn't." Makes you think about how many times we don't speak up when we should. He's right. If Frank had stayed silent, if Sarah Peterson hadn't found the courage to leave that letter, if the FBI hadn't been thorough in their investigation, David's plan would have worked perfectly. I would be dead. He would have inherited everything. Emma and Michael would have grown up with a murderer as a father. Instead, they're growing up with someone who will teach them that actions have consequences, that family means protection, not exploitation, and that love isn't about what you can get from someone. Margaret's trust fund now has over $1.2 million in it. The life insurance money has been invested for the kids' futures. My house is paid off and will go to them when I die. But more importantly, they're learning values that no amount of money can buy. Last Sunday we were having dinner when Emma asked, "Grandpa, do you miss Daddy?" "I miss the father I thought he was," I said honestly. "But I don't miss the man he became." "What's the difference?" "The father I thought he was would have protected our family. The man he became was willing to destroy it." "Are you sad he's in jail?" "I'm sad about a lot of things, sweetheart. But I'm not sad that you're safe." That night, after the kids went to bed, I called Patricia, Margaret's sister. "Robert, you've done something incredible with those children." "I had good teachers," I said, thinking of Margaret. She would be so proud. "I hope so." "Robert, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you ever regret pressing charges against David?" I thought about it for a moment. "Patricia, my son was planning to murder me. He had already stolen from 12 elderly people. He destroyed families and bankrupted senior citizens. If I hadn't pressed charges, he would have kept doing it." "So, no regrets?" "My only regret is that it took me 72 years to learn that sometimes the people who claim to love you the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. And what did you learn? That family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when you need them most. Frank showed up. Sarah Peterson showed up. Even the FBI showed up. David didn't. So to anyone listening to this story, remember this: trust your instincts, protect your assets, and never give anyone complete control over your life just because they share your DNA. And if you have elderly parents or neighbors, check on them. You might save their life. Comment below. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have forgiven David? I'm Robert Miller, and this is my true story.